Developing tonight, a situation here in Times Square, just steps away from our studios. This is right behind us, and you could hear Arthur Aidala talk about his trip here to Fox News moments ago, where folks are out on the streets protesting in the wake of this situation in Minnesota, another situation in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, involving the shooting of two black men by white police officers in circumstances that looked questionable but have not yet been resolved by those looking into it. Let's just take a listen for a minute.
Don't shoot! Hands up! 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 Don't shoot!
You can see the sign, "We will not be silent," and the President of the United States was not silent either. He came out and commented today. Listen.
When people say Black Lives Matter, that doesn't mean blue lives don't matter. It just means all lives matter. But right now, the big concern is the fact that the data shows black folks are more vulnerable to these kinds of incidents. To be concerned about these issues is not political correctness. It's just being American.
And we're watching time. Let's take a look. Let's just keep our eye on it so we know what's happening there. So far, the protests appear mostly peaceful, where you can hear the messages, although the messages are incendiary, accusing the cops as a whole of being racists. And as our panel points out, you've got many police officers of color in the crowd tonight. I want to bring back in our panel. Mark and Arthur are still with me, along with attorney Eric Guster. Eric, we haven't heard from you on this. Your take as we watch the anger in the streets and just the, I mean, so far it's respectful anger, but the charges of racism, before we know all the facts.
Well, the facts that we do know is that black men or black individuals are 3 times more likely to be stopped by police, 2 times more likely to be shot by police. And that's why these people are here protesting. And Megan, the most beautiful thing about this protest is that that audience, the people out there marching, are at least 50% white. New York is a melting pot of the United States. It has all types of nationalities, all types of people. And this is an American problem, just like what President Obama said. This is an American problem, and Americans are out there together to combat this issue because it's such a reality in so many communities of color and communities involving poor people.
Look, we don't have a police officer on the panel tonight, or a former police officer, but as former prosecutors, you guys have spent a lot of time with cops, and the thing is, it always feels a little discomforting to be armchair quarterbacking these incidents in the moment, Mark. You know, it's like, it's easy for us sitting in the anchor studio to say, well, he never should have drawn his gun and shot that man. But these guys put their lives on the line every day.
Yeah, I agree. We start the analysis, or I do anyway, with these officers didn't wake up wanting to kill anyone that day. So what happened? What led them down the path that they felt fear and believe that their life was in danger enough to pull the trigger? I've got to hear what they have to say before I make any conclusions.
And yet, Arthur, in the case of Minnesota, the allegations are that he was pulled over, he was asked for his license and registration, he said he had a gun, and according to his girlfriend, that was to tell them, hey, I got a gun on me. I mean, that's what she seems to be suggesting. And the next thing you know, he's shot. Now, I understand you might be fearful. He's reaching for his pocket. He's saying he has a gun. But, what obligation do the cops have to beware of the trigger finger, the itchy trigger finger?
Well, look, let's just start off with saying that the Department of Justice, I believe in both of these cases, in Baton Rouge, the prosecutor there, the local prosecutor, has agreed to hand it over to the federal authorities to investigate it. I believe the same thing is going to happen in Minnesota. So you're going to have the FBI looking into this. And one of the things they're going to look at, touching on what you just said, is what are the proper procedures? What are the I don't know, people are running there.
Yeah, they're running.
What is a police officer supposed to do? What does the patrol guide say? But I want to touch on for a second.
This is Dallas, Texas, we're watching here.
What the President of the United States said. The President of the United States said that black people are more vulnerable to these shootings by police officers. The next question I want to ask the President of the United States, as the first black president, is why? Can we figure out why? Why is it? Is it just because of the color of someone's skin, or is it based on other things besides that? And I would hope post-presidency that President Obama will focus on the black community and relieving them of this horrible situation that they've seemed to find themselves
Well, what
in.
of that, Eric? Because you started off with statistics on, the risks to black men when it comes to their encounters with police, and you heard Arthur's retort, which is, well, there could be a non-racist explanation for that.
But there is a lot of this is systematic, Megan. It goes back to education and the school system and job opportunities. Because when you have a lack of opportunities, then people turn to do something else. But this is a systematic issue with our criminal justice system, with our educational system, and it is a major failure for so many African Americans and people who are poor as well.
We're
I
trying
agree
to
with
watch what's
everything you
happening.
said.
We're just FYI, we're trying to watch what's happening in Dallas, Texas. We've seen protests in many locations. Did we lose the feed there? We're keeping our eyes on it for you. In Times Square, you can see it's calm, but very, very crowded. This looks like New Year's Eve in Times Square, where we get over 1 million people. And this news just broke today. I mean, these folks got out, and they got out fairly quickly to make their voices heard. Go ahead. You were saying, Arthur.
I was saying I agree with everything Eric just said. I do think it's systematic, et cetera, and it needs to be dealt with, and that's what I hope the President of the United States will deal with post-presidency. But talking about the police officers and why those police officers are reacting or overreacting or reacting in a ridiculous manner, looking at it in hindsight, is that because people of color, for whatever reasons, are the ones who have the higher percentage of violence in their background. I think that's statistically a fact. At least it is in New York.
All right, look, we're looking back in Dallas, Texas. This is disturbing. I'm not sure what we're seeing, but it looks from this vantage point like an officer down.
See,
We're
that's
not
what
sure.
don't
We are
need.
not sure. This is my speculation as I look at the screen. Stand by on that. I don't know what I'm seeing. And this is the control room trying to tell me they have a better vantage point. So I'm sorry for the speculation. The police are working on.
Oh my God.
We're all seeing this together. This is not clear. It is not clear. It's not clear to me from what we're seeing, but the situation is escalating. That officer is not moving. Look, we're not going to show dead cops or dead bodies or hurt cops or hurt bodies or hurt protesters. We don't know what we're seeing. So we're going to look at New York while we try to figure this out. This is the state of America today. Eric, this issue has reached a boiling point. It's reached a boiling point. The cops are fed up with being called racists. Some of them are fed up with their fellow cops. They don't make a lot of money. They put their lives on the line to protect us. 98% of them are good cops who don't run around trying to shoot people unnecessarily. And yet there's no question there are some bad ones. And there's no question that young black men in America today, many of them, feel like their lives are on the line if they have any sort of an encounter with a police officer.
And that fear is very realistic. I was pulled over 2 months ago for a traffic violation. Megan, I'm a well-known lawyer, especially in the South. In Alabama, where I practice, I was pulled over, and I was afraid for my life based upon being pulled over just for a traffic violation. So that reality is something that so many African Americans deal with on a daily basis. And it goes back, we were talking about the police officers. Some of them simply should never have been hired. That's one of the major issues
I just want to go back to Dallas while you're talking, because
Sure.
It appears there's some sort of a confrontation happening now. We're not looking at bodies, and we don't know what the situation is. People could have been crouching, they could have been waiting, but the cops are circling behind these vehicles. We saw them dragging a couple of people, and the situation appears to be escalating between the police officers and the protesters, we believe.
Oh my God.
Let's listen for a second. For For those of you just joining us, we saw moments ago in Dallas, Texas, a cameraman start to run along with other people running through the streets of Dallas where they were protesting the shooting of 2 different black men by police in 2 different cities in the past 24 hours. We saw that cameraman run to this location. Then we saw what appeared to be a body, perhaps more than one, on the ground. It was not clear whether the person was living or not, one of whom appeared to be wearing police gear. We cut away out of respect for the situation, and now we return to see more chaos on the streets of Dallas. It is unclear what is happening, but clearly there is a confrontation. There is a confrontation underfoot, and we still don't know what it is. I mean, this is just volatile. This is volatile, Arthur.
And the head of the police department, the chief of the police department, and the mayor's offices, they're caught flat-footed. I can tell you, it was obvious to me tonight in New York City, the police were not prepared for this. It was clear. I know we're saying everyone protested peacefully, but in New York City, they closed down 5th Avenue, they closed down 6th Avenue, they closed down 7th Avenue. 6th Avenue was only 1 block, but all of 5th Avenue, which those are not familiar with New York, is the major, throughway of New York City going from uptown, downtown. So they're dealing with this the best they can under the circumstances, and all it takes is one jerk to do one thing: push a cop, spit at a cop, do something to incite a whole riot amongst otherwise very peaceful people. And it seems like something untoward happened in Dallas.
And what we can tell you right now in Dallas is our affiliate there is reporting shots fired. That is all we have confirmed. Shots fired. We don't know anything more than that other than the chaos we've seen. We've seen images. We don't know what the images mean. It appeared that we heard some shots fired, and we've now heard from our local affiliate that that's their reporting as well. Hold on. All right, we have the former New York City Police Commissioner, Bernie Kerik, with us tonight. He's on the phone. Commissioner, thank you for being here. You can't ascribe motive in what we're seeing right here in Dallas, but tonight there were protests on the street over what we saw in Baton Rouge and what we saw in Minnesota, and it appears that chaos is reigning supreme in Dallas, Texas tonight. Your thoughts?
Well, first of all,
just stand by, Commissioner. My apologies. Can we cut into our local feed? Let's listen. Can we listen? We're trying to get the audio.
Here to the corner, a huge police presence off of Griffin Street and Commerce Street. A lot of Dallas police cruisers here, a lot of officers hunkered down behind their doors with guns drawn, all pointed to the Bank of America building there in the distance. Heather and Steve.